What's going on, guys, and welcome to another Doctor Who classic review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 4th Doctor Tom Baker story, Logopolis. This is Tom Baker's final story as the 4th Doctor. Comes after The Keeper of Traken, which I reviewed a couple of weeks ago. So after reviewing that, I thought better review Logopolis because it's in the same box set, and final story of the 4th Doctor. Pretty crazy. This is only, I believe, the I think only the 3rd Tom Baker story that I've reviewed, but it's his last one, so I'm not doing these in any particular order. Now before I get started, I just want to say that at the moment I'm actually going to be, like this one is here today, changing the Doctor Who classic reviews from Monday to Friday. I've just got a full-time job, so it's hard to do the ranking videos during the week, so I'm making it so that I have the weekend to work on the ranking videos, because they take, the top 10s and stuff, they take a lot longer to make, so I'll have the weekend to make those. I'll upload them on Monday or Tuesday, and then I'll do the classic reviews on Friday. When we have a week where I don't do a ranking video or a top 10, I may slip in another classic review, so you may have 2 in a week. But we'll see how we go with that. At the moment, Friday is the classic review day. But anyway, I'm going to read the back of the DVD for Logopolis. This is Logopolis by Christopher H. Bidmed. The Doctor and Adric head to Earth to fix the TARDIS's chameleon circuit, hoping to restore this time machine's ability to blend into its surroundings. But once there, they face danger involving a newly regenerated master and a feisty young air hostess called Tegan Javanka. How can the people of the distant and mysterious planet Logopolis help? And just who is the strange ghostly figure watching the Doctor's every move? So that is the basic plot, or the synopsis I suppose, for Logopolis. A pretty alright synopsis, an alright plot altogether. I don't think it's the most interesting for a Doctor's final story, and especially for the 4th Doctor's final story. It's a little bit bland maybe, but we will get into that. So let's start off with the cast. First of all, Tom Baker as the 4th Doctor. He's pretty good in this. A lot of people say that in season 18 he's not great. I did notice in Keeper of Traken that he wasn't amazing. Apparently that is one of his better performances, but he wasn't amazing. I think in Logopolis, on the most part, he actually does a pretty good job. You can still tell he's not really happy with the scripts and how the show is going at this time. It's the main reason why he left, I'm pretty sure, after JNT took over. But for his final story, I think he does a good job as the 4th Doctor. We have it also says here on Wikipedia, Peter Davison is the 5th Doctor. Of course, he is regenerated into Peter Davison's 5th Doctor. Not really going to say much on him though, because he doesn't say anything, he literally just sits there. The companions, we've got Matthew Waterhouse as Adric. I thought Adric actually put in a decent performance in this one. A couple of little parts which, you can tell Matthew Waterhouse not the best actor, Adric not the best character, so he's not very, we'll get onto it, but yeah, there was a lot of pretty bad moments, but whatever, he was alright. Sarah Sutton as Nyssa, I think she did a pretty good job in this one. Didn't do too much, but what she was doing was good. Janet Fielding as Tegan Javanka. Yes, this is the first story for Tegan. I don't see why they brought her into the story. I think they should have just brought her in with the 5th Doctor. She doesn't work with the 4th Doctor for me. I think they should have just brought her in Castrovalva with the 5th Doctor, but she's alright. She has some pretty bad performances here and there, and she's a character that I'm not the biggest fan of, but she's okay. Then we have Anthony Ainley as the Master. This is Anthony Ainley's really his first appearance as the Master. He did briefly show up at the end of The Keeper of Traken, but this is where he really gets going, and he does a great job. I love Anthony Ainley's Master. I can't really decide which Master I like more. I've seen more of Anthony Ainley at the moment, so I'd probably say him, but I think as I get to go, I think Roger Delgado will become my favourite, because he is kind of the Master, but Anthony Ainley does a great job. That's basically all the cast I'm going to go over, because those are the main ones, but now let's get on to some good points for Logopolis. Starting off with showing how TARDISes change their appearance. So basically the story starts off with the 4th Doctor actually trying to to fix the chameleon circuit on the TARDIS, which is something that's unheard of and something that should never actually happen. Let me just say that right now. The Doctor should never fix the chameleon circuit, because it just, the TARDIS is the blue box. We don't want it to be anything else. It's iconic as that. Maybe make him at some point fix it, but never make it so that he actually uses it, you know. But anyway, that's what he's doing at the start of this episode. I don't think it really works out, but we actually get to see on the TARDIS console, I think it's a TARDIS that actually does work, another one. We see how the TARDIS changes form. It like shows it changing into a pyramid, and it's a really cool system. I'm really glad they showed that. Next thing, landing on a boat instead of in the water was funny. A little funny scene where the Doctor was trying to land in the water with the TARDIS to, I don't know, flood out something. I can't remember, but they end up landing on a boat instead, and it's funny when they step outside. I thought that was a really cool little moment. Anthony Ainley's first proper appearance as the Master is great. Yeah, like I said, this is Anthony Ainley's first proper appearance as the Master, and he does a really great job. He does make a very good Master, and like I said, he's the Master in the classic series that I have seen the most of so far. So, yep, really do like him. The Doctor and the Master's moments are great, and I wish we had more time with Ainley and Baker. Yeah, so I mean, this is the only time we get to see Tom Baker and Anthony Ainley play against each other, act against each other as the Doctor and the Master, because obviously this is his first appearance and it's Tom Baker's final story. So yeah, I think they get on really, really well. I say they get on really well, you know what I mean. They bounce off each other very well. And it would have been nice to see more Anthony Ainley and Tom Baker action, but sadly that's not the case. He's more affiliated, I'd say, with Peter Davison's Doctor, but and I suppose Sylvester McCoy's as well, and a bit of Colin Baker, but yeah, I mean, it was really good seeing those two together. I thought that was really well done. And then finally, the appearance of older companions when the Doctor regenerates is nice. Yeah, when the Doctor's about to regenerate, I think it's just as he's about to fall from the radio tower. He's like gripping on, and he kind of sees in his head all his companions saying, "Doctor, Doctor." I can't remember if it's then or if it's after he's already fallen, but at some point he sees all that, and you know, it's just a nice little moment seeing, you know, Sarah Jane. It's all the Fourth Doctor's previous companions, so Sarah Jane, Leela, Romana, you know, people like that. So really cool. That's a really nice little moment they used there. Now we get onto some bad points, and sadly there are a few. There's not many. I mean, there's actually more good points than bad points, only just, but you know, this is what happens. So for the bad points, first of all, the Master's TARDIS is disguised as a tree. Yeah, pretty early on we see the Master's TARDIS, and I mean, I think one of the more known appearances of the Master's TARDIS, well, first of all, the clock from the Keeper of Traken, you know, that's a very known thing, and also the kind of pillar. We see the Master's TARDIS disguised as kind of a Roman pillar almost, and that's pretty iconic. I think that works well. But for some reason at one point, the Master's TARDIS is disguised as a tree, and it looks absolutely ridiculous. He just like climbs out from behind a tree. Like, what? I don't like it at all. It's not even a big tree. It's a fairly small tree, a pretty thin tree, and he just kind of climbs from behind it like, "Hello, I'm here now. I am a tree." And it's rather strange. I don't think a tree really works as the TARDIS personally. Almost like how I didn't really like how the Melka, was it, from the Keeper of Traken was the Master's TARDIS. I think that works a little bit better, but a tree? Really? A tree is the TARDIS? Not a big fan of that one. Part 1 and half of Part 2 are pretty slow. Yeah, I mean, the episode starts off, I mean, we don't even really get to see the Master. The Master just kind of pops in here and there, and he's just kind of whizzing about, doing some random stuff, but most of Part 1 and half of Part 2, remember this is a 4-part story, most of, you know, 1 and all of 1 and a part of 2 is just the Doctor and Adric running around the TARDIS, trying to figure out what's going on, you know, with the TARDIS within the TARDIS within the TARDIS. I thought that was a pretty cool thing, but it got a bit old after a while, and it's been very overused nowadays. But most of it was bloody Tegan, like, you know, introducing us to Tegan and all that stuff. And I mean, I don't mind Tegan. She's probably one of the companions I've seen the most, because I've seen quite a bit of Peter Davison's era, and she is in pretty much all of his era. But she's still not my favourite companion, and especially in this episode, she doesn't really interest me. She's just kind of whiny, she's annoying, and I don't think her performance is great. So yeah, a lot of it is based on her, and I thought that was, especially for Tom Baker's final story, I thought, yeah, you know, for his final story, a Doctor that's been in the role for 7 years, why are we focusing so much on this new companion? Like, can we not have just done that in the next episode with Peter Davison, or the one after? Like, whatever. Like I was saying with performances, Adric and Tegan's performances are pretty bad at times. There are a couple of moments where Adric just has his pretty bad acting moments. I mean, if you've seen Adric in Doctor Who, you'll know that he's not the most loved character, mainly because of his acting. His actor, Matthew Waterhouse, not the best actor in the world. He can pull off some things, but a lot of the time he's a little bit hammy and a little bit weird. And then Tegan, I mean, I don't think she's that bad overall, but in this episode she had some like really weird smiles. Like there was some moments where she just smiled really weirdly, or she'd like run around and stop and it'd be so janky. So those performances at points were pretty bad. And then finally, I don't really like how the Doctor was forced to regenerate by just falling. Now I know it was a mighty fall, he fell a long way. However, for a Doctor who has been in the role for so long, it felt a bit like, oh, okay, well, this Doctor's just dying to falling. Doctors in the past have died from, Doctors altogether, they've died from poisoning, from, old age with the first Doctor. Third Doctor was I think some kind of poisoning. The fifth Doctor was a kind of poisoning as well, actually, now that I think about it. A lot of Doctors have died in these ways, poisoned, shot, whatever else. And the fourth Doctor just kind of falls. And I just think it's a bit anticlimactic personally, but that's just me. Anyway, that was my review for Logopolis. I thought this episode was okay. Nobody really raves on about this one too much. Some people consider it to be the best in season 18, I think. I don't. I've only so far watched this and The Keeper of Traken. I think I have actually seen... Oh, maybe not actually. No, these may actually be the only two season 18s I've seen, and I will say that I do prefer The Keeper of Traken. I'm going to give Logopolis a 6 out of 10. It's the lowest rating I've given an episode so far. I think it's, I kind of consider a 7 out of 10 as average. Anything below that is, I think, slightly below average. Anything above is above average. I think 6 out of 10. I do think it's a bit below average. The story's really just about the Master just doing some stuff and things happening, and it's just not that interesting. And with all the stuff with Tegan, I just don't really care for, and I think the acting's pretty bad at sometimes, and altogether it's just not the most interesting story. So I'm only going to give it a 6 out of 10. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.